Hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. The Indian rupee continues to weaken, hits yet another record low against the dollar. A late recovery on Dalal Street helps the sensex and the Nifty end with minor cuts, but mid-caps see a sharp sell-off. Multiple brokerages downgrade their GDP growth forecast after the government pegs full-year growth at 6.4% in its first advance estimates. This is the slowest pace of growth in 4 years. Nomura, SBI and HSBC expect a growth rate of just over 6%. After following overstated data for 5 months, the government slashes gold imports by 131 tons for the July to November period. November data alone revised by $5 billion, the largest revision for any commodity in history. Industry has been voicing concerns over the data, raising questions over potential double counting. The government is likely to propose the simplification of direct tax laws in a phased manner in the upcoming budget. Sources say the exercise may include reducing TDS slabs and rates and measures to cut down tax disputes. Mahindra Group prices its entry-level electric vehicles at around 20 lakh rupees. The pricing is closer to competitors like Maruti and Tata Motors, and it's likely to trigger a price war in the EV market. The Supreme Court agrees to hear online gaming companies' pleas challenging the GST show cause notices on Friday. The industry seeks a stay on the notices, claims that it fears coercive action by tax authorities. Free speech trumps content moderation from Meta. The tech giant will end its third-party fact-checking program on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and replace it with a community-driven system similar to X. Mark Zuckerberg says fact-checkers have been too politically biased. Incoming President Trump praises the move. More than 30,000 people forced to evacuate their homes in Southern California as fast-moving wildfires wreak havoc. Over 2,900 acres of forest land gutted, even as authorities warn of more damage. 51 Palestinians killed in the last 24 hours as Israeli strikes continue to pound Gaza. US President-elect Trump warns all hell will break out if Hamas does not release all the hostages before he takes office on the 20th of January. Flush with funds, quick commerce companies eye quicker expansion. Swiggy tests a standalone 15-minute delivery app called Snack. Zomato makes a re-entry into the space, rolls out faster deliveries in select locations. Well, let's start with the market action. A roller coaster day on Dalal Street with the Sensex and the Nifty down deep in the red. But by midday and in the last hour of recovery, we saw some of those losses being wiped out. In the end, the Sensex lost just over 50 points and the Nifty was down about 20, so coming off its intraday lows. But the mid-cap index saw sharper cuts, losing over 1% today. Bank stocks also saw a sharp decline, with the Nifty Bank Index losing over 360 points. So a recovery there for the Nifty and the Sensex towards the close of trade. In the money market, the rupee continues to weaken, hitting another record low in trade. Today, the rupee weakened by more than 13 paise. $1 is now almost equal to 86 rupees. And the 10-year bond prices also came under pressure today, leading to a spike in yields. Lata's here with more on what has been another day of depreciation for the Indian currency. Lata.
Yes, it was another weak day for the currency, the rupee, and it appeared to make a fresh low towards that 85.90 mark. Actually, all factors were piled against the currency, both macroeconomic as well as currency factors. The Indian GDP coming in lower than previous estimates at 6.4, and there are several economists who believe even that is a tall ask. Maybe 6.2, 6.3 is the more correct figure. The US economic data, on the other hand, is coming stronger than expected. The JOLTS data, jobs data, as well as the ISM manufacturing and services, all coming in higher than expected. So clearly the delta is in favor of US and the delta is lower for India. And then there were the other factors. The dollar index has gone up overnight from 108.2 to 108.8. The US yields as well went up by about 2 basis points from 4.67 to 4.69. It made every sense for smart money to stay in the US currency, in US financial instruments. The yuan also showed the pressure. The renminbi fell from 7.32 per dollar to 7.33 per dollar, and that explains the pressure to buy dollars in India as well, mostly coming from FPIs who are moving out. Even the news that the gold import is actually lower than expected, and therefore the trade deficit is slightly lower, did not really help, because it is not the BOP, but the flow out that is actually impacting the currency. The sense that there are more rupee shorts even in the NDF market was pressuring the onshore market. The Reserve Bank was seen trying to slow down the pace of the fall, but they weren't really standing against it. It looks like the market will wait even beyond 86 for the currency to stabilize.
All right, Lata, many thanks for joining us. That is the rupee. And as Lata was talking about, let's bring up the GDP number for you. Brokerage houses have lowered their FY25 forecast. This after the government projected GDP growth at 6.4% in its first advance estimates. Now, the government's estimate points to the slowest pace of growth that we've seen in 4 years. SBI has lowered its forecast to 6.3%. HSBC stands at 6.2%, and Nomura expects a growth rate of around 6%. Now, according to the government's projections, manufacturing is expected to see the sharpest decline among sectors. So that's the latest there as far as growth is concerned. Well, the government has slashed its November gold import estimates by $5 billion. This is the largest revision for any commodity in India's history. More than 131 tons of gold have been removed from the import estimates for 5 months from July to November last year. The industry has been voicing concerns over the data, raising questions over potential double counting. Manisha is standing by now with more details. Manisha, it's taken the government several weeks to try and arrive at this number, even though industry has been saying for very long now that there has been double counting. Take us through what's happened here.
Well, thank you so much for that. Well, we've been talking about this since the numbers came out, and the earlier data did show that came in from the Ministry of Commerce that the gold imports for the month of November stood at a high $14.8 billion. Well, this was double than what you saw in the previous month and almost 4 times higher than what you saw in the previous year. And since then, we've been telling you industry has been pointing out as well. And Metal Focus and other data that we see to, look at what kind of imports do come in, there has been a vast difference. So finally, with the kind of numbers that have come in from the DGCIS today, it does put numbers in perspective now. So when you look at the Jan to November import for gold into the country, it now has been revised down to 664 tons. This was earlier in the month of November put to a high of 796 tons. Also, when you look at the Ministry of Commerce data that has been put out for 2024, there is a downward revision from the month of July onwards. This is the time that new softwares were put in, and we did see imports come in via IBX in Gandhinagar as well. So there is this data differential that has been put up now. So when you look at the month of July, it has been revised down by 6.5 tons, August 18 tons, September 13 tons as well. Now remember that Ministry of Commerce does put out data with 2 months of a lag. So we are still waiting for Ministry of Commerce here. But when you look at the DGCIS revision, the month of October has been a huge 39 tons from nearly 97 tons to 58 tons on the lower side. Data has been revised for the month of November. That is where the concerns really started to come in from. So from 170 tons, what the Ministry had put out, DGCIS has now revised it down to 117 tons. I mean, this is nearly 53 tons of a difference. And with the way the gold prices have been and the kind of imports that we've seen, this definitely will have an impact on the current account deficit. Importantly now, you'll have to wait for the Ministry of Commerce numbers coming in.
Well, Manisha, many thanks. That is a surprising move there, a significant cut in the import number. And remember, this has been, as we've been pointing out, something that industry has been pointing out, but finally the government acknowledging the error. The government is likely to propose the simplification of direct tax laws in a phased manner in the upcoming budget. Sources tell us that the exercise may include reducing TDS slabs and rates. Timsy is standing by with more on what the government could be looking at. Timsy.
Well, sources have told CNBC TV 18 that the upcoming budget could see the proposed simplification of direct tax laws being done in a phased manner. Sources say that the government is considering simplification of direct tax laws to make the law language simpler, have an easier compliance, and the aim is also to do away with some old and redundant provisions from the law. Sources say that the thinking in the government is that a phased manner introduction of the simplified direct tax laws will give industry more time to adjust to these changes. Meanwhile, sources also say that under the simplification exercise, the government is studying to rationalize the TDS provisions, and if agreed upon by the top political will, the rationalization of TDS could mean cutting down the current number of slabs to 3 to 5 broad categories and rates. Not just this, sources added that the upcoming budget could also unveil measures to reduce litigation burden and help in bringing down the backlog. Just to remind our viewers, simplification of tax laws was announced in 2024 full budget, and an internal panel was formed for this comprehensive review of Income Tax Act, which was set up in July 2024. This panel till now has got over 6,500 plus suggestions which are under consideration. On the tax disputes front, as per the Income Tax Department data till FY24, tax disputes across various levels are to the tune of about 21 lakh crore rupees, which are stuck. And now, finally, what is to be seen is what actually does the Union Budget 2025 unveil on the tax side.
All right, Timsy, many thanks for joining us. And speaking of the budget, microfinance institutions have asked the government to renew credit guarantee mechanism given to the sector during the pandemic, along with the ease in funding. The industry hopes that this move will reduce pricing costs and help lenders access growth capital. So that is going to be something to watch out for if that is taken forward by the government. The countdown to the budget has well and truly begun. India is looking to seize the moment and establish itself as a global economic outlier. The upcoming budget, which will be the NDA government's first full budget after the election victory, will focus on growth. So tell us what you want from Budget 2025 by submitting your wish list to the CNBC TV 18 budget box at hotspots near you and on cnbctv18.com. This is, of course, as always, your budget headquarters. Join us on Budget Day for the biggest newsmakers and unparalleled budget insights. The market regulator SEBI has directed companies eyeing a public listing to disclose complaints received from whistleblowers. According to a money control report, complaints related to promoters which surfaced after draft offer documents were filed must be disclosed. This comes after SEBI reviewed whistleblower allegations of fraud and incomplete disclosure against Rose Murta Digital Services and Traffic Sol in November of 2024. Foxconn and Dixon have urged the government to pay pending subsidies that they are entitled to under the PLI scheme. Bloomberg reports the government pledged 41,000 crore rupees in subsidies to manufacturers. A part of this amount remains unallocated as some companies did not meet estimated production targets. However, both companies argued that they are eligible for some of the unallocated funds. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear the online gaming industry's pleas against GST show cause notices. Now, industry seeks a stay on these notices and has expressed concerns over potential coercive action by tax authorities. Shares of Delta Corp rose on the back of this development. Ashmit joins us now to take us through the details. Ashmit, this has been an issue that's been pending for more than a year now. Take us through what is on the anvil.
Well, indeed, the online gaming companies will finally be hoping for some relief against GST show cause notices. Bear in mind that it has been a long wait, but then after that wait, the Supreme Court has decided to hear this case from Friday, that's January 10th. Now, what's at stake here? Well, the show cause notices being spoken of add up to 1.12 lakh crore rupees. That figure could climb to north of 2 lakh crore rupees if you add the premium, the penalty component. Let's also not forget that these cases have been filed against as many as 71 companies. That's the number of companies that have received these show cause notices. Now, what's important is that at the heart of this issue is the August 2023 amendment, which allowed for a 28% GST levy on full face value of the entry amount. The question, however, is it applicable retrospectively from 2017 or is it applicable only prospectively from August of 2023? Tax authorities, for obvious reasons, are asking for 2017. The industry batting for only post-August 2023. That question will now be decided by the apex court. Now, in the interim, the question, however, that has arisen is that the fear that has been expressed by the industry that there may be coercive action taken by the tax authorities for possible recovery of these dues. And to that end, they've sought relief in the form of an interim stay. Will the apex court allow that interim relief? Well, the Friday hearing could hold the answer.
Right, many thanks, Ashmit. Now, U.S. Republican lawmaker Lance Gooden has challenged the Biden administration's decision to investigate alleged bribery charges against the Adani Group. In a letter to the U.S. Attorney General, Gooden has called the Justice Department's prosecution subjective. The U.S. lawmaker added that the probe is likely to damage ties between India and the U.S. He also suggests that the Justice Department should focus on issues that the U.S. is facing rather than chase rumors abroad. Lenders to debt-ridden Jayaprakash Associates have extended the deadline for the auction of the stressed loans exposure to the 14th of January. Sources say that at least 6 asset reconstruction companies have shown interest in the bidding process for the company's loans. Lenders have set 12,000 crore rupees as the reserve price for the e-auction. The resolution of Jayaprakash Associates has been in limbo for over 7 years since the RBI identified the company as one of the large stressed accounts to be sent to the NCLT for resolution in 2017. Shares of Ola Electric down 5% in trade today after two major developments. Market regulator SEBI issued an administrative warning letter over disclosure violations. The letter said that Ola Electric announced its expansion plans on social media platform X before officially disclosing the information to the stock exchanges. The Karnataka High Court has also refused relief to the e-scooter maker, which is facing a CCPA probe into customer complaints. The court has asked the EV company to furnish additional documents with the CCPA in the next 6 weeks. Well, the electric vehicle race in the passenger car segment is all set to heat up in 2025. Mahindra, Maruti, Hyundai, JSW, MG Motor and Tata Motors are all launching electric cars at the Auto Expo this month. Mahindra Group has launched the entry-level variants of their new electric cars at roughly 20 lakh rupees. Parikshit joins us now with more. Parikshit, the pricing is bound to trigger a price war in the EV market.
Mahindra Group has announced prices of top variants of BE6 and the XEV9e at rupees 26.9 lakh and rupees 30.5 lakh respectively. This is bound to trigger a price war in the market. The EV race will heat up with the Auto Expo in January 2025. Maruti Suzuki will launch the all-new e-Vitara, which is a ground-up electric vehicle in both the 49 kilowatt-hour and 61 kilowatt-hour battery option. The driving range will be more than 500 kilometers. Hyundai will launch the new electric Creta in 42 kilowatt-hour and 51.4 kilowatt-hour battery options. The driving range is expected to be more than 450 kilometers. Tata Motors will showcase both the Sierra EV and the Harrier EV at the Auto Expo. The launch will be in FY26 with a driving range of more than 500 kilometers in a single charge. All of them, Maruti, Hyundai, Tata Motors, are expected to price their vehicles very aggressively with attractive financing options due to competition from the Mahindra Group and JSW MG Motor. Tata Motors sold 61,496 electric vehicles in 2024 versus 60,100 in 2023. It is the top EV maker in India and offers small hatchback EVs, small EV sedans and compact e-SUVs in the range of 10 lakh rupees and 22 lakhs. The company's EV market share declined from 73% in 2023 to 60% in 2024. Now, this is because new entrants and existing models in the market, including MG Comet, the Windsor EV, the new ZS EV, BYD, eXUV 400 have increased sales and market share. JSW MG Motor sold 21,484 units in 2024 compared to 9,526 units in 2023. Windsor EV was a hot-selling model. It sold over 10,000 units just in the October-December 2024 period. Both Tata Motors and JSW MG Motor sliced prices in 2024, and the price wars are bound to get hotter in 2025.
All right, Parikshit, many thanks for joining us. Social media giant Meta has announced the end of its fact-checking program in the US. Mark Zuckerberg said the company will replace this program with a community-based system that is similar to Community Notes on X. This move comes weeks before incoming President Donald Trump prepares to take office for the second term. This will allow users to call out misleading posts and give them the platform to provide additional context to the post. Meta CEO also said that fact-checkers have been politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they created.
We've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms.
I watched their news conference, and I thought it was a very good news conference. I think they've come a long way. Meta. Facebook. I think they've come a long way. I watched it. The man was very impressive.
Right? Human behavior is inspired because when a post is noted, it's dramatically shared less. So that's the power of community notes. And we say, Mark, Meta, welcome to the party.
Well, that's Twitter's CEO on Facebook and Meta's decision to do away with fact-checking and bring in community notes. Incoming US President Donald Trump has announced that Emirati billionaire Hussein Sajwani is investing $20 billion for data centers in the US. Trump claimed that Sajwani made the commitment because he was very inspired by the election. In the same press conference, Trump also outlined his expansionist agenda. He vowed to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. He refused to rule out the use of military action to seize control of the Panama Canal, Greenland, and he said he will use economic force on Canada. Earlier, he shared a distorted map showing Canada as a part of the U.S.
Going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. We need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world.
Well, that's Donald Trump. Now, the Joint Parliamentary Committee on Bills proposing simultaneous polls held its first meeting today. Law Ministry officials briefed the MPs on the key provisions of the bills. The 39-member JPC is headed by BJP MP PP Chaudhry, Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, NCP's Supriya Sule and TMC's Kalyan Banerjee are part of the committee as well. Up next on India Business Hour, flush with plunge, restaurant aggregators take a bigger bite of the instant food delivery opportunity. That and more when we return. And you can catch all of CNBC TV 18's news and updates on Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram and JioCinema. In international news, Israeli military has ramped up its offensive on war-battered Gaza, killing at least 51 Palestinians in 24 hours. Israelis continue to protest in Tel Aviv, demanding captive deal and ending of the war. Incoming US President Donald Trump has also demanded that Hamas release Israeli captives in Gaza by the time he enters office. In a press conference, Trump issued a warning saying all hell will break loose if Hamas does not follow through.
Those hostages aren't back. I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is. And they should have given them back a long time. They should have never taken them. There should have never been the attack of October 7th. People forget that.
That's Donald Trump. More than 30,000 people have been forced to evacuate their homes in Southern California as fast-moving wildfires wreak havoc over 2,900 acres of forest land, gutted even as authorities warn of more damage.
A wildfire tore through an upscale suburb north of Los Angeles on Tuesday. Officials said nearly 3,000 acres of the Pacific Palisades area between Santa Monica and Malibu had burned. One man who lives there named Peter said he was trying to retrieve things from his home when he decided it was too dangerous.
I got within 300 yards of my house, and some gentleman picked me up and took me to take it the rest of the way. The fire department stopped, and as it stopped, we saw some literally flaming debris landed in the road near where we were standing.
The blaze destroyed houses and led to the evacuation of some 30,000 people, while firefighters raced to stamp out the blaze. These aircraft scooped water from the nearby Pacific Ocean to drop on the flames. Reuters spoke to this woman stuck in traffic as residents fled the area beneath huge plumes of smoke.
I mean, I've never seen anything. Fires were this close to the cars.
Time-lapse videos captured the rapid advance of the fire, which grew six-fold in a matter of hours. Officials warned the worst wind conditions were expected to come overnight. That has fueled concerns that more neighborhoods could be forced to flee.
We are anticipating, hopefully we're wrong, but we're anticipating other fires happening concurrently. And that's exactly the previous experience we've had with these kinds of wind events.
The fire chief of Los Angeles said no injuries had been reported so far. Before the fire started, officials had already warned of extreme fire danger through Thursday from powerful winds that arrived following an extended dry spell. Known as Santa Ana winds, the strong, dry westerly winds originating in inland deserts are more common in the fall, but can affect Southern California any time of year.
A terrible situation there in California. Another quick commerce race heating up. Food and grocery delivery platform Swiggy has launched a standalone app called Snack to deliver quick bites and beverages in 15 minutes. Now, this comes months after Swiggy launched bowls for quick deliveries from restaurants. Zomato also entered the 15-minute delivery space by launching a separate tab under the app's Explore section. Shilpa joins us now with more on what's cooking in the quick food delivery space. Shilpa.
The quick commerce space continues to be the hottest in 2025 also. Flush with funds that they raised in 2024, players like Swiggy, Zomato, Zepto are unrelenting in their expansion. Now, if you look at the new experiments are cropping up every few days. Swiggy, which just raised 11,000 crore through an IPO, had set aside 1,100 crore just for its quick commerce business, and its newest experiment is a standalone 15-minute food delivery app called Snack by Swiggy. This is currently being piloted in just a few pin codes in Bengaluru, and this takes on Zepto Cafe and Bistro, which is by Blinkit, and it offers quick beverages, snacks, etc. in 15 minutes. Now, this is in fact its second quick food delivery offering after it launched 10-minute food delivery offering Bolt on its main app in October. Now, Zomato too, which raised 8,500 crores in 2024 to grow its quick commerce app, is on a launch and expansion spree. But let's first talk about what it's doing on the food delivery front. The success of Bolt seems to have also prompted Zomato to take a second shot at its quick food delivery. It launched a 15-minute food delivery offering on its main app, and it's delivering easy to prepare, ready to eat items within a 2-kilometer radius from restaurants. Now, this is in addition to what Blinkit recently launched, Bistro, a standalone app for quick food delivery, which is yet to be operational though. Zepto, which was the most funded startup of 2024, is also on an expansion spree. Latest being the launch of a standalone app for its food offering Zepto Cafe, which is also in the process of opening at least 100 new cafes every month to cater to the massive demand of over 30,000 orders per day that it's seeing. Now, the possibilities for the quick commerce space continue to seem endless now, and with cash in hand, Swiggy, Zomato, Zepto and others are not backing down from new experiments. Are more pilots going to be in the offing? Most definitely. But will all of them work? That only time will tell. Back to you.
Yes, we'll be watching closely. Many thanks, Shilpa. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of India Business Hour. Thanks very much for watching. Do stay tuned. The news will continue right here on CNBC TV 18. We're back in a moment with more.